Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS Slate Breakdown for Thursday, July 10th. We are back. We're breaking it down. We only have a few more days until All-Star break, but we do have a 7-game slate today, and we're going to dive into it. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann. Come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, the props, the DFS. You get it all for one low price, or you can just jump up to that yearly option, and that will give you the entire NFL season, the entire NBA season, and the rest of this baseball season, as well as the start of next, and it's only $240 a year. It also gives you access to all the other sports we do, PGA, esports, everything, college sports, all of it. Let's jump in and see what we got. So, we will start by the perfect lineups and the winning lineups from yesterday, and then we will get into pitchers to consider, followed by some good old stack attacks that we need to consider on this lovely 7-game slate. So, perfect lineup. We got Slade, Cicioni, and Cy Elder. Those LineStar subs or longtime LineStar subs know exactly why I'm saying Cy Elder, but he had a day. Slade Cicioni was one of those guys that I did talk about yesterday. Pretty surprised he came out with 7 innings and 9 Ks, but I liked the situation. We definitely got a very, very solid game out of him. Elder went nuts. 2-man Angels stack here, and then all one-offs after that. Oh, yeah, all one-offs after that. So 261.15 perfect lineup. Once again, we're not trying to get the perfect lineup. We're just trying to get as close to that score using correlation as we can. If you notice, all of our winning lineups always have correlation. It just makes it a little easier to get there. Loin took it down with 212.7, 1/11. He had Brandon Poff. There was a pitcher that I did talk about yesterday as he's extremely boom bust, and he did enough. I mean, he pitched very deep into this game, got 24 outs, went 8 innings, got the win, got 4 Ks, only let up 2. And then we have Giolito, who was insanely high owned and had a good game at 8,500, putting up 27. He's usually going to be in a winning lineup there. So congrats to them. And then lineup wise, we had a 3-man Yankees stack here. One off with Boston, one off with the Angels, one off with Cleveland, one off with Texas, one off with Sal Perez. The guy got extremely lucky with all his one-offs. He even had a 0, but he just nailed the right guys here. So congrats to Loin. You got it done. Let's check out what we got on the old FanDuel situation now. Perfect lineup on FanDuel. We got Slade Cicioni. We have a 2-man Diamondbacks. Acuna, Trout, Duran, Jazz, Simeon, Sal Perez. Almost all of them had 2 home runs or had a home run and a stolen base and, lots of other stuff going on. 345.1 was that lineup score. Used all of the salary. The winning lineup did go to Begress 1-3, who had 274.9. They had Elder. Then they had a 4-man Angel stack here, 2-man Yankees, 2-man ATL, so the old 4-2-2. Very nice lineup construction out of him. And let's get it on over to today's slate. Check out what we got. Try and find out where we can find some more diamonds. All right, highest owned, Jack Kukanowicz, 28% owned. I can't see this staying as the highest owned. He is only 6,200, but there's just not much ceiling, super low floor, going against a team that has just been crushing the ball lately in Texas, and nice hitting weather. all while also averaging 32% less fantasy points at home. I don't like the spots for Kalkanowicz, and if this stays like this, I will have a ton of Texas tonight. Would absolutely love that leverage. Think, unfortunately, Jack is probably in for a rough day here. He is at least keeping the ball down a lot, but all in all, I don't like his profile. I mean, a FIP in the fives, low strikeout upside versus a team that's been very good lately and has hit him well. So not going there. Not often that I have a high-owned guy that I'm just literally not going to play, but that's a spot there. Next, we got Bryan Woo, 10K, 25% owned versus the Yankees. I have a couple things here that I need to bring up. One, he's averaging 20% less fantasy points while away. Two, he is a righty that is much better to righties. Lefties hit him better. He has a slugging of 289 to right-handed batters and 413 to left-handed batters. A slugging allowed, that is. So Yankees are also a team that can throw out a ton of lefties against Woo today. So I think it's going to be very interesting, the lineup the Yankees end up throwing out today, and make sure you pay attention to it because it does matter quite a bit in this matchup for Bryan Woo. Altogether, though, Woo has been unbelievable. 3.59 FIP over his last 20, 3.9 over his last 5, 28% K rate over the last 5. StatCast data is okay. A lot of fly balls, but we do have wind coming in at least today. All in all, I'm fine taking some Woo, but I'm going to be very, very interested in that lineup, and that's really going to tell me how much Woo I'm going to play. If Yankees say, I don't care about the splits and go roll out, a fairly heavy righty lineup, then I'm probably going to have a ton of Woo. If they roll out a lineup with a lot of lefties, then I may not have a lot of Woo, and I think those lefties, or some of them at least, will get pinch hit for later in the game. But interesting spot here, interesting, situation we really need to consider later in the day. Next, we got Spencer Strider, 9,500, 24% owned. Now, we have spectacular hitting weather in Sacramento today. We have 100-degree temps. Winds are blowing out at 10 miles an hour, but we got Spencer Strider on the bump. The big thing here is he needs to miss bats, and when he does get hit, the ball needs to stay down. 42% ground ball rate. So he does that a lot. I think the whole thing here is, can he miss bats or not? If ownership is suppressed just because of this hitting weather, I will be all over Spencer Strider. The splits are in Strider's favor. 30% combined K rate, 9,500. Sign me up for Strider. He is the only pitcher on this slate I feel like I can kind of count on. I will expect his ownership to be super high today. I know we only have it at 24% right now. I imagine that ends up more like 35, 40% later in the day. He's probably going to be the high-owned pitcher. It's one of those spots where this pitching slate is just a tough one. There's nobody we can really trust. There's warts on everybody. Bryan Woo is a great pitcher, but in a tough spot, not as good a way. Strider, a great pitcher, best hitting weather on the slate, and some of the best hitting weather we've seen, outside of some of these Colorado or Wrigley games this year where it's been 20-mile-an-hour wind. It's a tough spot. Strider, to do well, is going to have to miss bats, but I kind of got to go to him on this slate. All right, now let's get into some pivots here. Mike Soroka. He is finally showing some of the ceiling as, that we thought could be there when he was a prospect. 3.72 FIP over his really full body of work, or last 20 starts. Solid. 30% K rate there. Solid. over the last 5, 4.45 FIP, 30% K rate. Now, the ERA is way higher in both the 5 and the last 20. I expect him to get some good luck at some point to bring those numbers a little bit closer. Now, the StatCast is a little scary. 42% fly balls, 34% hard contact. We just need him to miss some bats and have those hard hits be caught. Go right to guys today, opposed to hitting a hole. All in all, I think Soroka is a very interesting play today on a slate where there's really not a whole lot of guys that I like. So don't mind going with some 8,500 Soroka. At least the ceiling is there. Next, we got to talk about Erod at 8K. Eduardo Rodriguez, 8K versus the Padres. Look, 4.44 FIP over his last 20, 4.45 over the last 5. K rate's mid-20s. StatCast data has been fine. Splits are a bit rough. Padres aren't hitting the ball hard, but they have a 290 average and a 340 WOBA. Erod's just going to have to keep guys off the bases. If he does, it's a great spot for him because it's a lot of soft contact that's going to come. He's averaging 45% less fantasy point or more fantasy points when he's away. His better games this season have been when he's away. And Padres really haven't been hitting that well lately, and he has good BVP data versus the Padres as a whole. I think it's an interesting spot on a slate where, there's very few interesting spots or pitching spots you can feel good about. Next, we got Taj Bradley. Red Sox have been red hot, so I got to start off by that, but he is averaging 30% more fantasy points while away. 4.12 FIP over his last 20, 3.8 over the last 5. He is another one of those guys where when he is on, that K rate is significantly higher than it shows at 20%. He can come out and have 10, 12 Ks some days. And we know the Red Sox can strike out a little bit. They're also a young hitting team. However, they're hitting well. But on this slate, with so few pitching options I really want to go to, I'm going to get a little Bradley. Do I love it? Absolutely not. But I think he's kind of a necessary evil, so to speak, on this slate. There's just really not many pitchers that I feel comfortable going to. You can throw Logan Allen in the mix too, just because they're against the White Sox. They strike out a lot. Logan Allen is 7,700 and could get mid-20s. Outside of that, really don't love anything. JP Sears, there's going to be some leverage here because I'm sure Braves end up super high owned. And the Braves haven't been good versus lefties. But this StatCast data, 53% fly balls, 34% hard contact in this type of weather, kind of no thanks. Corbin's a little interesting, but I mean, trusting Corbin ever is hard, especially when the Angels and Texas have both been hitting the ball very, very well lately. So I don't really love that one too. We can go through everybody, and it's just kind of how it is. I don't really like anybody on the slate. On FanDuel, high owned, we got Spencer Strider. He's going to end up being 40, 50% owned on FanDuel. I would be shocked if he isn't. Brian Wu, definitely like. Bradley, I'm fine getting a little bit. Eduardo Rodriguez, I'm going to get a little bit. Soroka, maybe. Outside of that, I don't really love anything. Maybe a little Logan Allen. I mean, for one of these lower priced pitchers to get there, all we need is Brian Wu to not get strikeouts or Strider get it lit up a little bit. And then all of these 7, 8K guys have a chance. So Strider is obviously the best pitcher on this slate. If he gets hit up, it is totally up in the air which way to go. So, you're going to have to play into some game theory to pick your guys. I've already told you some of the guys that I like. The Erods, Taj, Wu, Strider. Those are by far and away my top 4 favorite, with Soroka. And if you really want to, Logan Allen in there as well. Now let's get over to some stacks and see what we got here. Our highest owned stacks of the day, we got Atlanta versus JP Sears. Too many fly balls, too much hard contact versus a team that likes hard contact and hits the ball in the air. Not a great spot for JP Sears. Behind him's a bullpen that's not that great either. The only thing here with the Braves is, as a whole, they have struggled versus lefties. So that's the issue, but they have several guys that can hit lefties very well, and we just need those guys to, go yard or produce everything for the Braves, and that can definitely happen. So interested in the Braves. Highest projected. Arizona versus Randy Vasquez. I don't know how Randy Vasquez keeps getting away with it. He has a 5.4 FIP, but just seems to never get blown up. Arizona is a very good offense, though, and can definitely get to him, so I'm fine going there. Boston versus Todd Bradley. He can get blown up. I don't love the spot for Boston. Might have a little bit. Not going to go too hard on him. Yankees versus Brian Wu. I like them a lot more if they go lefty heavy. If they don't go lefty heavy, I'm going to side with Wu on this one. And let's go over to the value. Cleveland versus Jonathan Cannon. Makes a ton of sense. Cleveland has some bats that can hit home runs. J-Ram is hitting has hit 3 home runs in a row, or 3 games in a row he's hit a home run. Cannon's not great. Bullpen's not great. Washington versus Mikolas. Mikolas is kind of like Kyle Hendricks, where you don't really ever want to face him with the stack, but occasionally he will get blown up. And Hendricks got blown up yesterday. Mikolas could definitely get blown up a little bit. Don't mind a little Washington. Don't love it. White Sox versus Logan Allen. Logan Allen does allow some hard contact, so there's some consideration there. I'm not going to go 5-man stack with them, or very few if I do, but won't totally cancel them out. Highest ceiling. Arizona, Boston, New York. We got them all. Let's go to the high leverage play here. We got Boston and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is versus Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler has absolutely got lit up lately. 6.87 FIP over his last 5, 5.34 over his last 20. I love Tampa Bay at these super low ownerships and absolutely willing to play a lot of them. Their price has got a little pricey, so you may have to pay down for some pitchers to really fit in, their top guys there, but a little interested for sure. Click the teams tab. Highest implied run total, 5.9 for the Braves. It should be. They are clearly the best stack on this slate. Gonna be hard to get away from too much of them. Next, we have the Angels and Texas at 5. I like this game. I don't mind stacking this game. I think both pitchers can actually get lit up. I do think Texas has a higher likelihood of getting it done in this game versus the starting pitcher and that bullpen. But I don't mind having some Angels too versus Patrick Corbin. The old gas can Corbin can get absolutely lit up sometimes. Boston versus Bradley, we covered. Seattle versus Stroman. Stroman hasn't been great since he's been back and limited. He's really only been going like mid-80s in pitches. I don't mind a little Seattle, but we do have wind blowing in New York today. St. Louis versus Soroka. Soroka, his ERA is 6 over the last 5. He has had some very bad luck. Could the bad luck keep going? Yes. However, I do side with Soroka on this. I think he is due for some positive regression, but behind him is a poor bullpen. So I understand having some St. Louis stacks too. Maybe that bad luck continues one more game. Yankees we covered. Tampa Bay we've covered. A's versus Strider. Look, Strider has allowed a lot of hard contact, a high average exit velocity, and we have great hitting weather. If he is not on his game, some A's leverage stack make a ton of sense. Now, the A's aren't going to project well because Strider will project well everywhere, so they're going to be very low owned. But you kind of get 2 birds with 1 stone. If Strider fails, lineups that have his pitcher, have him as a pitcher, get hurt while yours are booming. So I don't mind having some A's for a game theory play in this spot. Cleveland versus Cannon, fine getting a little bit. Arizona versus Vasquez, absolutely will get a little bit. And then San Diego versus Erod. Don't love the spot for San Diego here, but I'll probably have to play a little bit just because of how poor the bullpen is for Arizona and because I'm a homer. It is what it is, guys. We will be back with more tomorrow with the big Friday slate. Hope you guys have a good one. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's make some money. See y'all later. Peace.